the I Make a Difference podcast, an adventure of exploration of your human self, the conditioned and unhealed parts of you, and your true self, the natural, real and powerful you. A pathway where you unravel, heal and uncover on your journey back to you. Hi there, I'm Melinda Cates, and this episode of the I Make a Difference podcast is all about your true self, which is the start of our journey and the end of our journey being our human self journey. And there's even a belief with some people, and one I tend to believe myself, that our purpose in actually being on this earth, or at least one of them, is to actually discover if we can, in our human form, unlearn everything we know about being connected to and being our true self, and learn it all again, rediscover, and come back to and reconnect to being who we truly are, the real and natural self that we are. So, what is our true self? I know every single one of us are born a beautiful jewel. And what that means is we are born our true self. We are born with all of the amazing, incredible qualities of goodness, of purity, of trust, of understanding, of connection, of individuality, of spontaneity, fun and laughter, of acceptance and unconditional love, to name a few. And if we were born into the ideal world in our human form, then we would remain connected to that part of us, remain connected to who we truly are, and live quite a different life to the one that we have been living. Because we become conditioned by all of our human emotions, beliefs, experiences that erode that connection to who we truly are. And for me personally in my journey, the first time that I realised that there was something more to me was in my latter teenage years, when I realised that I was purely a product of my conditioning, a product of my upbringing, and I knew how I was behaving, I knew how I was feeling internally, was not what was natural to me and was not right. But I didn't know what was natural to me, and I didn't know what was right. I just knew it wasn't right. And that can often be our starting point in recognizing that there is more to who we really are. And it wasn't until my 20s, when a situation happened that resulted in me completely falling apart internally, that I had a feeling within me that started growing, whereby I could sense and see there was something really precious within me. Something that was so beautiful, that was so pure and good. That wasn't the Melinda that I was expressing, filled with emotion and anger and hate and hurt, but something that was unique and so precious, but I couldn't touch it. I couldn't connect to it. And so how could anyone else actually experience that with me as well? So my purpose on this earth became that I wanted to discover that part of me and be me. The real Melinda. The Melinda I now know I was born as and have always been. The real and true me. Through my journeys, and the more I've healed and the more I have unraveled conditioning around what was acceptable and not acceptable, around how I should be, around what I shouldn't be, what I shouldn't say, and all of the human elements that remove us from being natural and remove us from being our true self. The more I unraveled those, the more I got to see that my connection to my true self has always been there. And through the healing and unraveling, that connection became stronger and stronger. And my ability to embrace who I truly am and to allow myself to express my true self grew and strengthened as time went by. I even remember at a point in my healing when a memory came to me of me as a little girl with my grandfather. The picture of him was so pertinent because I know he was the one person in my life that loved me unconditionally, that accepted me, that didn't have expectations of me, that created a space where I knew I was just me and I could just be me. And in that memory, I remember the feelings internally where everything felt so right. Everything within me felt at peace. It felt fluid, filled with energy, filled with lightness, with a joy and a curiosity and an inquisitiveness and a freedom, most importantly, a freedom to be me. And all the years that I thought that I was a bad person, all the years I've been rejected, I got to see that the true and real me was this beautiful, generous, caring, good and pure Melinda. And I got to see and feel and reconnect to her through remembering that experience with my grandfather. And I cried and cried and cried at that memory because I had found my way back to my reference point of when I knew I was truly me, the real and beautiful me. And having that reference point enabled me to feel that connection within myself and for it to begin to grow even stronger than what it already had. And from there, I then got to see the jewel that is within me. I got to see this beautiful radiance at the core of myself. I got to feel it. I got to see the light that started shining throughout my being. But I will say, with the light that starts shining throughout you, it means that every part that you have chosen not to look at within you, whether it's painful and hurtful or beautiful and magnificent, you cannot hide from the light anymore. But the beauty of that is that you are able to see the parts of you that need you to heal them or need you to reclaim them and reconnect to. And as my jewel and my light got stronger over the years, it then transformed into where my jewel embodied me. And I went through an experience where I saw and felt my jewel surround my entire body and become one. This to me was a sign that I had done that much healing and work on myself, that my true self now was more prominent than my human self, and that's pretty cool. You see, there is a quietness that comes with being your true self. Don't have the chatter that you used to have. That's not to say I don't still have some areas of unraveling and healing to do. It means I have far less of them, and I'm more about reclaiming more of the beautiful qualities and aspects of myself, more about seeing my potential and allowing it to be expressed and discovering more about it. And I'm more about living my life in the moment now, because there's reduced emotional attachment to the past, and there's reduced emotional attachment to the future. So life becomes more about what do you uncover, what do you discover about you, and what do you discover about life and the experience we have in this human world. You see, there's a few parts to your true self. There's your soul, which is the eternal energy being that transcends lifetimes, the part of you that is always in existence, the part of you that has all those amazing, incredible qualities and attributes. Then there is your knowing, and your knowing is the voice of your soul. And your knowing shares with you what you need to know for your human self to continue to grow and evolve every moment of every day. And your knowing expresses what your higher self shares with you. And your higher self sees everything as to where you've been, all the lifetimes you've had, and your higher self knows your journey and where you're heading to. Your true self has always been in existence within you. And your way back to discovering that connection to your true self, and that is to remember a moment, an hour, a day, some period of time when you remember feeling so right, so free, so full of wonder and love and trust and joy, where you knew you were your natural and pure self, where you didn't have emotional attachment to anyone or anything, yet you were filled with love for everything and everyone. You were filled with acceptance for everyone and everything. And when you can remember that connection to your true self and go in and feel that connection and hear that connection and your knowing talking to you, because it does not whisper to you. The whispering is the fact that you have chosen not to hear it. And you can consciously own that connection. That is when that connection is given permission to start strengthening and to start growing. It does mean, though, your journey of healing and unraveling will continue, so that you become less of your human self and more of your true self. And another thing that helps is to find a picture of you where you see yourself as that beautiful jewel, the natural and radiant you, and connect to that picture, because it is real and it is you. I've had beautiful gifts of being able to walk beside so many people who have reconnected to consciously their jewel and the beauty that lies within them. A lady that I have not met, who is a friend of a friend who read my book, shared with me not long after she'd finished it that she went through a horrendous, devastating experience where she lost her daughter to horrific circumstances. And the pain and the grief that she was experiencing, I can't even begin to imagine. But in her taking the steps to remember that beautiful part of herself enabled her to reconnect to her jewel and to true self. And she sent me an email sharing with me a photo of when she was her true self and her jewel. And what I loved is she could feel and knew her daughter was smiling at her for the joy of her reconnecting to her joy. And another friend of mine who's gone through the I Make a Difference process, vigorously diving into every activity to explore every part of herself possible. She's taken steps recently to face some pretty significant experiences from her childhood. The beautiful message I got from her the other day was she felt so strange because for the first time in her life that she can consciously remember, she was feeling quiet, content, filled with light and happy. And as I said to her, is it strange or is it actually just unfamiliar? And for the first time in her life, she shared that she was a beautiful being and that she loved herself inside and out. Don't underestimate the power of your true self. Your soul is guiding you every single step of the way as you journey through this life. What you have the opportunity to do now is to actually really listen to what your soul's saying, to reconnect and grow that trust of yourself again, and to know that your true self and soul have never abandoned you, it never rejected you, it never judges you, it loves you unconditionally for who you are and what you've done and what you experience. May you uncover, may you reconnect to, and may you give yourself permission to strengthen that connection to your true self so that you can be the real and natural you. And if you would like to share questions or share photos or share your processing, please do not hesitate to send me an email at melinda@imakeadifferenceimad.com. Until the next episode, may you make a difference, healing, unraveling, and uncovering and reconnecting to who you truly are.